Welcome to this edition of Stay at Home Connect. I'm Phyllis Jackson.
While promoting his COVID-19 relief plan, President Biden says that 600 million doses of the coronavirus vaccine will be available by the end of July. FEMA launches the opening of its first COVID-19 vaccination sites in Los Angeles and Oakland as part of the Biden administration's plan to pick up the pace of vaccine distribution. The winter weather is hindering vaccination efforts in many states, including here in Georgia. In a release, the Georgia Department of Public Health says it received notice from the CDC that Pfizer and Moderna vaccines that should have arrived earlier this week were held back by the manufacturers due to the weather. Delays are expected to continue through the week. Many providers are rescheduling appointments. Officials with the Department of Public Health are asking for patience as they wait for weather conditions to improve and shipments to resume. Doctors are concerned about an increase of an extremely rare multi-system inflammatory syndrome in children after exposure to COVID-19. The condition leads to inflammation of the body's major organs. Here's what you need to know. The CDC has a list of symptoms that you should be aware of. Not all children will have the same symptoms. Among the more serious, trouble breathing, chest pain, or pressure that doesn't go away, along with severe abdominal pain. For a full list of symptoms of multisystem inflammatory syndrome, you can go to the CDC's website at cdc.gov.
That's a wrap. We'll see you on the next edition of Stay at Home Connect.
Westmoreland, who is still in the Atlanta Beltline board meeting right now. He will be joining us soon, and I will then call the roll in a second. Well, actually, I now call this meeting to order, and what I'll do is I'll have Ms. Pulidini please do a roll call for the members.
Okay, Councilmember Antonio Brown.
Present.
Councilmember AMIR FAROKHI.
Present, though not online yet. Looking for the login info, but I'm here.
Okay, Councilmember Jennifer Ives.
I'm here, and I'm hoping to be online in a second. I had a little computer glitch this morning.
Thank you. Councilmember JP Matstay.
Here and online.
Councilmember Marcy Collier Overstreet.
Present.
Thank you. We have 6 members present, Mr. Chair. We have a quorum.
Okay, great. Thank you, members, for being here and being on time. And yeah, we will proceed with the remote meeting statement, and that should give some of you time for your computers to boot up. Ms. Pulidini, can you read the statement?
Yes, this Transportation Committee meeting is being conducted remotely as advertised and as in accordance with OCGA 50-14-1. The meeting will be conducted in conformance with Robert's Rules of Order and the Rules of Council as authorized by the City Code. The public may access the meeting by dialing 877-579-6743, conference ID 831-599-1256, which was noted on the March 5th, 2021 public meeting notice. The public may also view the meeting on Channel 26, the Council's homepage at citycouncil.atlantagA.gov, the Council's YouTube channel, or the Council's Facebook and Twitter pages via @ATL Council. All presentations are available on the Atlanta City Council Transportation Committee presentation page. The agenda was published and made available on March 5th, 2021 via atlantacitygA.iqmc.com. And in addition, the public was able to submit comments via voicemail between the hours of 4 and 7 p.m. the day before this meeting at 404-330-606-6059. All persons present on the remote council meeting conference bridge are requested to mute your phones and speakers must be acknowledged by the presiding officer prior to speaking. Each council member is requested to open their email and Outlook email and minimize the screen. And amendments, substitutes, and informational documents have been distributed to committee members beforehand. Thank you all in advance for your cooperation.
All right, thank you, Ms. Pulidini. All right, now it is time for the agenda, and what I'm going to do is have our presentation come after the legislative session. So we have a presentation that is MARTA's quarterly update. I want to move that after we do our legislation. So, Ms. Pulidini, does that require us to amend the agenda?
No, Mr. Chair. Since you've announced that it'll be taken up after legislation, that's fine. We won't need to amend.
All right. Members that is everyone online now? If not, please make a motion in a second.
So moved, Brown.
Second, aye.
Okay, let's prepare to vote.
The vote is open.
Although I think I am online, please count me as a yay, affirmative.
Okay, Overstreet is a yay.
The vote is closed. 6 yeas, 0 nays. The agenda has been adopted.
All right, next is I make a motion to approve the minutes. Is there a second?
Second, aye. Second, Overstreet.
Okay, that's a second by Overstreet because I think she's not online. So let's go there.
The vote is open.
I'm a yes, Mr. Chair. This is Brown.
Okay.
And aye is a yes.
Okay. Oh, Ms. I, yours hasn't come up yet. Okay.
The vote is closed. The minutes have been approved. 6 yeas, 0 nays.
All right. We've adopted the agenda and approved the minutes. Now it's time for public comment. Ms. Pulidini.
1 moment, please.
We have about 19 minutes of public comment, I think. Something to that order. Let's see. Yeah, 19 minutes.
Just one more moment, please. We're pulling them up. Thanks for your patience. We're still pulling up the voicemail, and they'll be played shortly.
Shall we go on and take the consent agenda items? Can you read off those?
Yes, I'll go ahead and read the consent agenda items. Item number 1, 21-0-0155, an ordinance by Transportation Committee to correct ordinance number 20-0-1634, adopted by the Atlanta City Council on November 2, 2020, and approved by operation of law on November 11, 2020, on behalf of the Atlanta Department of Transportation for the purpose of correcting the dollar amounts associated with the fund, department, organization, and account numbers listed therein. All other provisions to remain unchanged and for other purposes. Item number 2, 21-0-0156, an ordinance by Transportation Committee to authorize the mayor or her designee in accordance with Section 2-1163, Article 10, Procurement and Real Estate Code of the City of Atlanta Code of Ordinances to ratify agreement FC-8249, annual contract for the maintenance and repair of sidewalks, curbs, driveway aprons, and associated infrastructure with SDNC Inc. on behalf of the Atlanta Department of Transportation, and to extend the term on a month-to-month basis for a period not to exceed 6 months, retroactively beginning March 1, 2021 through September 1, 2021, with no additional funding required and for other purposes. And item number 3, 21-0-0157, an ordinance by Transportation Committee to ratify FC-119043, Transportation Network Company Tracking and Compliance Services at Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport with the American Association of Airport Executives, with a retroactive effective date beginning January 1, 2019, on behalf of the Department of Aviation, in accordance with Section 2-1163, subsection C, Article 10, Procurement and Real Estate Code of the City of Atlanta Code of Ordinances, and for other purposes.
Okay, if there are no objections, we will accept all those first reads. Are we now ready?
Just one moment, please. I'm checking. Yes, the comments are ready and they'll be played now. Thank you for your patience.
Hello, my name is James Pensick, and I live in Mosley Park. I'm calling in regard to the speed tables that have been approved on Mosley Place. In light of yet another accident on this street, we ask that Council Member Cleta Winslow use her discretionary funds for speed table installation concern on Mosley Place. The dangerous speeding is a safety concern, and we can't wait any longer. Thanks.
Hello, my name is Amanda Pensick, and I live in Mosley Park. I'm calling in regard to the speed tables that were approved for Mosley Place. There was yet another accident on that street, and we asked that Council Member Cleta Winslow use her discretionary funds for speed table installation on Mosley Place. It's a dangerous speeding area, and it's a safety concern for all of the residents of the neighborhood, including senior citizens and children. And we can't afford to wait any longer before someone gets hurt. Thanks.
Hello, my name is Jasmine Hope, and I'm the Secretary of the Mosley Park Neighborhood Association. I'm calling in regard to the speed tables that have been approved on Mosley Place. In light of yet another accident on the street, we ask that Councilmember Cleta Winslow use her discretionary funds for speed table installation on Mosley Place. The dangerous speeding is a safety concern, and we cannot afford to wait any longer. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Michael Beers. I'm a property owner here in Mosley Park, a suburb of Atlanta, Georgia. I am calling to voice my concerns about the recent drag racing as well as just overall speeding and issues that we're having here in Mosley Park. I am a resident who works from home, so I am here a lot and I see it quite prevalently, specifically off of Martin Luther King, Chickamauga, and Charo. And I was just calling to voice my concerns. My address is 1311 Douglas Street, Southwest, Atlanta, Georgia, 30314. And I would just really like to see something happen about it. We have been property owners down here for a little bit over a year, and we love this area, and it's a great area, but we're seeing some changes that we're not really for, and we want it to be addressed. Thank you. Have a great day.
Hello, my name is Celsius Patel Paulino, and I live at 105 Chickamauga in Mosley Park. I am calling in regard to the speed tables that have been approved on Mosley Place. In light of yet another accident on this street, we ask the council member, Cleta Wilson, use her discretionary funds for speed table installation on Mosley Park and on Chickamauga. The dangerous speeding is a safety concern, and we cannot afford to wait any longer. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Casey Hill, and I am a Mosley Park resident. I'm calling in regards to the speed tables that have been approved for Mosley Place. In light of another accident on this street that occurred just in the past few days, we are asking that Councilmember Cleta Winslow use her discretionary funds for speed table installation on Mosley Place. The dangerous speeding is a safety concern, and we can't afford to wait any longer. Thank you so much.
Hi, my name is Felix Jimenez. I live in 259 Matthewson Place in Mosley Park. We continue to have concerns with pedestrian safety and transportation and basically speed tables around the neighborhood. We need crosswalks to be repainted. We really need bike lanes. We need sidewalk maintenance. And really, we had another big accident, and we really asked Councilmember Cleta Winslow to help us with her discretionary funds to get these speed tables installed. We hear cars speeding all the time, and really without crosswalks and without proper signage and without proper street marking, we continue to put folks at danger of something terrible happening. So we really need the support of this group to help us get this done and quickly. So again, this is Felix at 259 Matthewson, requesting your support and help to get this done. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Adam Steins, and I live in Mosley Park. I'm calling in regards to speed tables that have been approved on Mosley Place. In light of yet another accident on the street, we ask that Council Member Cleta Winslow uses her discretionary funds for the speed table installation on Mosley Place. The dangerous speeding is a safety concern, and we cannot afford to wait any longer.
Hello, my name is Daniel Hoffmeister. I live in Mosley Park. I'm calling in regards to speed tables that have been approved on Mosley Place. In light of yet another accident on the street, we ask that Council Member Cleta Winslow use her discretionary funds for speed table installation on Mosley Place. The dangerous speeding is a safety concern, and we cannot afford to wait any longer. Thank you very much. Bye.
Hello, my name is Marcus Kennedy, and I am a Mosley Park resident. I live on Wellington Street in Mosley Park, and I'm calling in regard to the speed tables that have been approved on Mosley Place, which runs right into my house. In light of another accident on this street, which I was able to observe from my house, I'm asking that Council Member Cleta Winslow uses her discretionary funds for speed table installation on Mosley Place as soon as possible. There's a lot of dangerous speeding that happens on the street, and this speeding is a safety concern, and I don't see how we can afford to wait any longer. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Juanita. I live in Mosley Park. I'm calling in regards to the speed tables that have already been approved on Mosley Place. In light of yet another accident on the street, I'm asking that Council Member Cleta Winslow use her discretionary funds for speed table installation on Mosley Place. The dangerous speeding is a safety concern that we can't afford any longer. I have children. I am tired of seeing these cars driving crazy up and down our streets. And there are kids that are out on the street playing every single day. I really hope there aren't any other accidents and that you guys take serious consideration of allocating those funds for the speed tables. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Lindsay Caldwell, and I am a resident of Mosley Park. I was calling in regards to the speed tables that have been approved for installation on Mosley Place within our neighborhood. I live at the end of Mosley Place near the intersection of Wellington Street, and there was an accident just last week that was a direct result of speeding. This has really been a steady safety concern within our community, as we often have children and families walking along these streets. And so we are asking that Council Member Cleta Winslow, who serves our district, use her discretionary funds to support the installation of these speed tables on Mosley Place. Again, as I mentioned, incidents of speeding that result in accidents is an urgent safety concern among our community. And, you know, we no longer have the luxury of waiting to move forward with such a critical project that could mitigate issues and accidents from happening in the future. So thank you so much for hearing my concern, and I appreciate the consideration.
Hello, my name is James Hicks. I live in Mosley Park, and I'm currently the president of the Mosley Park Neighborhood Association. I'm calling in regard to the speed tables that have been approved on Mosley Place. There was another accident in a short period of time that was based on speed. We're asking that the council member for the area, Council Member Cleta Winslow, use her funds to fund the speed tables that have already been approved through the entire process, as speeding is becoming unsafe for multiple instances. While luckily no one was hurt in the most recent accident that happened last week, we want to have, or would urge, the council and the city to put these speed tables in place before someone dies, as it is becoming closer and closer to happening, with that street being used as a cut through for other areas with the wideness of it, as other things. Please take this public comment seriously, and if you could answer when the city will be funding the street and with a date of when they will be put into place. Thank you so much for your service. Have a great day.
Hi, this is Sharon Fitzgerald. I live in the Mosley Park community, and I am calling about the speed tables off of Mosley Place. We've had another accident this week, one that I narrowly missed while in the car with my two children, one 2 years old, one 10 months old. And this has been a major issue in our area that we are very concerned about. We are interested in our council member, which is Cleta Winslow, using her discretionary funds so that there can be some speed tables installed off Mosley Place. It's already been approved by the people in the community with the signatures that have been written off for it, and we'd like some help with that. We really just can't wait anymore. Thank you.
My name is Jennifer Brooks. Thank you all for your service to our city and its people. May you and your loved ones stay healthy and safe. Ordinance 20-0-0136. Councilmember FAROKHI, could you please clarify why the parking revenue sharing arrangement is retroactive to January 2020 instead of the actual date that parking enforcement changed due to the pandemic? Please allow me to share with you a quote from author Leslie Kern, who recommends that the needs of mothers and caregivers be placed at the center of urban planning. Quote, city planners and architects can't take the white, able-bodied, cis man as the default subject and imagine everyone else as a variation on that norm. Close quote. Please be sure that all transportation planning is cognizant of this workforce demographic, especially as you plan for any changes in the center of downtown. Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Catherine Peterman. I am a Mosley Park resident. I am calling just to comment on some of the funds. I guess we have some discretionary funds maybe available to our neighborhood for helping with pedestrian safety. Just the speeding in the neighborhood has really been out of control recently, and there was a recent accident, and fortunately nobody was hurt, but we can't say that that will always be the case. So if we could get some assistance with improving pedestrian safety, and also to look into reopening some of the bus lines in the neighborhood through MARTA, because I know those are still not running and sort of hindering some of the transportation that is needed for residents of the neighborhood. So thanks.
Hi, my name is Shane Lashley, and I live in Mosley Park. I called a few months ago about the speeding in the neighborhood and the lack of clean sidewalks. There are trees that grow over the sidewalks, and they drop branches and leaves, and then you can't walk on the sidewalk. And there's also streets that don't even have sidewalks. And I assume that some of these cars are going well over 45 miles per hour in a 25 mile per hour area. They're running stop signs. They're completely out of control. We recently had a stolen car in our neighborhood that hit a telephone pole. I was absolutely terrified. I heard it from my backyard. I would like the city council and the police to be accountable for Mosley Park and not just think it's some neighborhood that they can push off, which they have been doing for the last 2 years. Mosley Park is a very affluent and important neighborhood to the Atlanta community. It's historic. You can see by what is happening in the park itself how important Mosley Park is. So I think it's fine time for the city council to actually take care of Mosley Park, put speed bumps in, reinstall bricks to where there used to be sidewalks, clean up debris that's on the street, and have police actually come and do speed traps, because it's just disgusting how much Mosley Park has been neglected for so long when it's such an important neighborhood. I mean, Hank Aaron lives here. You think that you guys would take a little more pride in the area. I would appreciate it if you would put the right foot forward and take a little consideration into making Mosley Park a safer neighborhood.
Greetings to you, committee members and staff, and special greetings to you, citizens and voters of Atlanta, monitoring your government in action and taking note of how public comments are treated. Ben Howard, Senior Advocate, Public Policy Analyst. The Atlanta Planning Advisory Board, APAB, Executive Committee reportedly met last Sunday evening. Under APAB President Debbie Skopczynski, APAB no longer has a transportation committee. Neighborhood Planning Unit R, chaired last year by now Vice Chair Antonita Robinson, and before her by Ricardo Jacobs and by Corliss Clare, never has had a transportation committee. Residents, professionals, business persons, and stakeholders within Neighborhood Planning Unit R were told last year that Campbellton Road Phase 3 will be implemented in 2021. A similar promise was made back in 2006 when Campbellton Road seniors were promised Phase 1 and Phase 2, as well as Phase 3. The NPU R9 will not allow Campbellton Road Phase 3 to appear as unfinished business on NPUR agendas. This is because they feel that such a topic might draw citizens to the NPUR meetings, and the NPUR9 might lose control of NPUR. I submit that there is a need to enact stronger citizen participation legislation to offset the negative impacts of the NPUR9. I caution you again that any attempt you might make to increase citizen participation at NPUR will be met with fierce resistance from that NPUR9 Vice Chair Antonita Robinson, Corliss Clare, Ricardo Jacobs, Lynette L. Scott, Alfred White, Allison Hathaway, Sherry Williams, and the underground supporters of NPUR9 syndicate.
Hi, my name is Eric Harrison, and I live in Mosley Park. I'm calling in regard to the speed tables that have been approved on Mosley Place. In light of another accident that we've had on the street, we'd like to see a little quicker uptake on getting those put in. Hopefully, if we have any more accidents over here, we won't end up with a loss of life. So far, it's just been one car recently. The speed tables will definitely help to slow some of these drivers down and hopefully help protect some more of our pedestrian lives that we have walking around our neighborhood, including small children. I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to address y'all and hope to see some new transportation improvements over here to protect pedestrians. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Laura Hawk, and I live at 1304 MLK Junior Drive in Mosley Park. I'm calling in regards to the speed tables that have already been approved on Mosley Place. We've had, unfortunately, another accident on the street in our neighborhood, and we asked that Councilmember Cleta Winslow use her discretionary funds for speed table installation on Mosley Place. The dangerous speeding that is repeatedly a problem in our neighborhood is a safety concern to us all, and we cannot afford to wait any longer. Thank you so much for your consideration, and I appreciate it. This is Laura Hawk from Mosley Park.
Hello, my name is David Ferretti, and I live in Mosley Park. I'm calling in regard to the speed tables that have been approved for Mosley Place. In light of yet another accident on this street, we ask Councilmember Cleta Winslow to use her discretionary funds for the speed table installation on Mosley Place. The dangerous speeding is a safety concern, and we cannot afford to wait any longer. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Amber Stevens, and I live in Mosley Park. I'm calling in regard to the speed tables that have been approved on Mosley Place. In light of yet another accident on the street, we ask that Council Member Cleta Winslow, use her discretionary funds for speed table installation on Mosley Place. The dangerous speeding is a safety concern, and we cannot afford to wait any longer. Thank you.
And that concludes our public comments.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for playing those public comments, and thank you to all the members of the public that expressed themselves to the council. A majority of those were from Mosley Park, it sounded like, and they were wanting something from Councilmember Winslow. We can pass that message on to her office. She's not a member of this committee, but we can definitely pass those messages on to her office. Ms. Puladini, if you could make an email to her staff and her about the public comments that came in, and all the rest. I don't know if any council members have any responses. If not, we can move forward. Okay, so we are at section G, but we're going to move the MARTA quarterly update till the end of the meeting, and we just did the first read, section H. So now it's time to move on to the regular agenda. Ms. Puladini, let's prepare for ordinances for second reading.
Right, item number 4, 21-0-0114, an ordinance by Transportation Committee to ratify Cooperative Purchasing Agreement COA-9709PL, traffic signal, electrical facilities, parts and accessories, and to exercise renewal term option number 4 with General Traffic Equipment Corp., ICS Plus Inc., Temple Inc., Trafficware Group Inc., Transportation Control Systems, Control Technologies, 360 Network Solutions LLC, Wavetronics LLC, and Utilicom Supply Associates LLC on behalf of the Atlanta Department of Transportation for a term of 1 year, retroactively effective beginning December 1, 2020 through December 1, 2021, with no additional funding required in accordance with Section 2-1163, subsection C, Article 10, Procurement and Real Estate Code of Ordinances of the City of Atlanta and for other purposes.
All right, Mr. Josh Rowan.
Mr. Chair, this is Josh Rowan, Commissioner, Atlanta DOT. This is a renewal on a cooperative purchasing agreement that we use for traffic controls, traffic signals, and traffic signals parts and supplies. It's a standard contract for us, and there's no money added to it because we commit these funds on a per task basis.
Okay. All right. I'll make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second, Brown.
Thank you. Let's prepare our vote.
The vote is open.
Aye is a yes.
And so is Westmoreland.
The vote is closed. 7 yeas, 0 nays. This item is favorable. Our next item is number 5, 21-0-0115, an ordinance by Transportation Committee authorizing the mayor or designee to amend the following 3 architectural and engineering design services contracts. 1, FC-7383B, Atlanta Services Group 3, a joint venture of Jacobs Project Management Co., FL King and Associates, Inc., and Engineering Design Technologies, Inc. Number 2, FC-7383C, BGR2, a joint venture of Black and Beach Corporation, River to Tap, Inc., and Gresham Smith and Partners. Number 3, FC-7383F, TV Benchmark JV, a joint venture of Parsons Brinckerhoff, Inc., and Benchmark Management LLC to extend the terms of the contracts on a month-to-month basis for a period not to exceed 6 months on behalf of the Atlanta Department of Transportation and the Department of Watershed Management, and in accordance with Section 2-1163, Article 10, Procurement and Real Estate Code of the City of Atlanta Code of Ordinances, and for the purposes.
All right. Let's hear from Mr. Rowan again.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. The Department of Transportation is in the process of procuring a on-call architectural and engineering on-call contract specific for transportation. This legislation seeks to extend the existing contract that's in place. We're actually a user department on a contract that was led by Department of Watershed Management. So we want to maintain our ability to have access to engineering consultants while we finalize putting in place our own contract.
Okay. All right. I move approval. Is there a second?
Second, Brown.
The vote is open.
Hyde is a yes.
Vote is closed. 7 yeas, 0 nays. This item is favorable. Our next item is number 6, 21-0-0116, an ordinance by Transportation Committee to ratify SB-5060, operation and management of common use facilities and equipment at Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport with TBI Airport Management, Inc., and authorize the mayor or designee to enter into amendment number 2 to extend the term of the agreement on a month-to-month basis for a period not to exceed 5 months, retroactively effective beginning January 30th, 2021 to January 29th, 2021 on behalf of the Department of Aviation in an amount not to exceed $625,000.00 in accordance with Section 2-1163, Article 10, Procurement and Real Estate Code of the City of Atlanta Code of Ordinances. All contracted work will be charged to and paid from account numbers listed herein and for other purposes.
All right, General Manager Selden, are you on the line?
Yes, sir. John Selden, the General Manager of Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport on this beautiful morning. This contract, TBI, we need an extension. The contract is very close to being finalized. TBI performs all of the operations and maintenance of our Concourse E and F international concourses. It is a very complex procedure because they also manage the ramp and the control of the airfield and the gate and the plots and when the airplanes come in and out. It is a very, very complex contract for us that we need an extension for, and we are looking forward to getting this approved. They control 40 gates of our 193 gates here at Hartsfield-Jackson. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Mr. Brown, you had a comment you wanted to make about this?
Yes, Mr. Chair, thank you so much. So colleagues, just so you all are aware and we're all on the same page, there have been some concerns raised around this contract, as well as the minority participation allocation within the contract. And I have made several requests to both the Department of Aviation, in which the General Manager, John Selden, has been copied on, as well as the Law Department, as well as Amber Robinson. And we've been on an email chain now for weeks in which I've requested documentation to review before this contract renewal came before this body for a vote. And I've received part of the documents, but they've stated that they're still trying to compile the other parts of the document. And there's some concerns around the minority participation with regards to one of the bidders that originally placed the bid on this contract but was not awarded it, in contrast to who was awarded the contract, in relation to the two different rates or agreements within what they would allot for the minority participation. So I'm asking you all if we could hold this legislation pending the receipt of those additional documentations I've requested. And again, this request has been, I made this, first of all, I brought this issue up months ago, and I've continued to raise this issue now for a while now. I've even done, I did an entire investigation through the FAA on the minority participation and other items with regards to not just this contract, but all of the contracts within the Department of Aviation, the Atlanta Airport. So, colleagues, if we could hold this legislation, so Mr. Chair, I will motion to hold this legislation pending those documents and that review, please.
Okay. Thank you for that, Mr. Brown. Mr. Selden, So there is a motion to hold. Let me hear from Mr. Selden on this, or someone from airport, or someone from contract compliance regarding the minority participation on this.
So Mr. Chairman, it's John. The first thing is we are asking for an extension for the current contract. I believe Councilman Brown is expressing his concern over the new contract that went to council in August that has not been finalized, that council approved. We are definitely, as the airport operator for the city, having the international terminals shut down because of our contract is out of compliance. We are just asking for the extension this time, and it's very important that TBI is funded, and we are providing the funds and the pass-throughs for the cost of operating that terminal to go forward. Conflicts with the new contract are still being worked out, and the emails that Councilman Brown referenced were not to the airport. They were to OCC and DOP. And the airport is more than willing to comply with whatever DOP and OCC provide us, especially DOP, because this is an ongoing procurement and contract negotiation going forward. So we will provide, DOP and OCC are the ones that should answer some of the questions that Councilman Brown is requesting. Thank you.
So Councilmember Brown, it seems that they're saying that you've been communicating about a new contract, and this is about an extension while they work out the new contract. Does that resolve your concern?
Yeah, Mr. Chair. The reality. First of all, Mr. Selden is right in the regards in which he stated that I'm actually speaking about both situations, because the reason why I raised the issue on the actual new contract is because I understood that there was going to be an extension asked for on the existing contract. So the whole point of me even raising this issue months ago, in which the airport has been copied on every single email, including the law department with regards to the airport. But Mr. Selden is absolutely right that it is an OCC issue, and I've been attempting to try to resolve this as soon as possible. Unfortunately, it's been delayed. I've even asked for assistance from the law department, and they've tried to step in to help, mediate in getting these documents as well. But nonetheless, I mean, I don't want to see this terminal's operations be shut down. But again, they knew this extension was coming up, and they were going to ask for it, and they knew why I was questioning the current contract and why I wanted this done before this extension was brought before council. But nonetheless, I'll withdraw my motion to hold the legislation on condition that they are going to get us the documents so that we can properly review this and make an assessment, because at this point, it's just, this has been going on too long. Like, it should not take this much to get documentation to review a minority participation rate with an existing contract and a new contract that we're looking to procure.
Chair, I have my hand.
Yes. I know. I was about to come right to you, Ms. Overstreet, but he has removed his motion, so I wanted to make sure I stated that. So we no longer have a motion to hold on the table. Okay, but now go, Ms. Overstreet.
Well, honestly, I was really trying to just get clarification on how detrimental it would be or not to have the hold, because of where we are in our committee timeline. We go to full council on Monday, and then our next full council won't be for another month. So I was just wondering how would that affect operations. But if Councilmember Brown is removing his motion, I guess we do have time to look into that situation with minority participation with the new contract and the old contract. because again, that's one of our signature things here in Atlanta is our DBE. So it's a valid concern, and I just want to make sure, though, that we're not really holding up or making a detrimental hold on this, just in case we're not able to get back to this paper until next month. But now I second the motion to, well, not to hold, but a motion to pass on condition.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Councilmember Overstreet, and thank you also, Councilmember Brown. But now on the floor, we have a motion to approve, but on condition that we have information regarding the DBE participation. And this is for the extension, but we also still, as Councilmember Brown was saying, and Overstreet, that there's still the issue of the actual contract that's still out there. So we still have to deal with that. Since last year, we have not finalized the contract, so that's why we need this extension. I'll second the motion to approve on condition, and I think OCC, I've asked that they come on the line and briefly explain where we are in this process, and then we can move forward with this legislation, being aware that the future legislation we got to get right. So is there someone from OCC on? Or DOP?
Good afternoon. This is Martin Clark from the Department of Procurement. I will defer to Bruce Bell, the director of OC2, I believe is trying to get on the line. But I want to clarify that this is a management contract. It's a contract to manage the collection of rent and other activities at the airport. And for that service, the vendor receives a management fee. There seems to be some confusion as to, on the part of Councilman Brown, as to what that compensation would be, but I believe it is clear. Further, I believe OCC sent responsive documents to Councilman Brown, along with, I believe, DOA in the past, explaining the compensation on this. But again, I will defer to OCC. But I believe that the documents have been provided. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, I just want to say really quick while we wait on Bruce Bell. So I have an email dated, excuse me, from Bruce Bell on February 18th, and in this email, he states to me that the Department of Procurement and the Department of Aviation are still gathering documents to satisfy the balance of your ORR. We will contact you as soon as we have compiled the other documents you have requested. And what they sent originally was nothing but a memo from the city of Atlanta in regards to the particular contract and the goals set in place. But I have yet to receive, and I asked of this, and Martin Clark is aware of this because he and I had a conversation on this, because the concern was raised around the original procurement contract that is in negotiations around the minority participation, that we selected a vendor to come in and perform the work of this contract, in contrast to a competitor who had a higher minority participation rate listed within the original bid. So I have several concerns about this, and you know, again, as Mr. Clark stated, you know, I've been working with Bruce Bell on gathering the documentation for me to be able to look into and understand, and he's been working diligently to do that. I think he's run into some issues trying to compile some of the documents to provide to me, so this is to no fault of his. But to Mr. Clark's point, no, the documents have not all been provided.
Hello, can you guys hear me? We can hear you. State your name and your position, what you're about to talk about.
All right, my name is Bruce Bell. I am the Interim Director of the Mayor's Office of Contract Compliance. I wanted to just briefly discuss the participation. I'm glad to hear that we're going to move forward with this piece of legislation, and before the next council meeting, we can provide more data if necessary. But regarding this participation, I wanted to make sure that Council Member Brown was aware that when we're grading minority participation, we don't necessarily award to the firm with the highest percentage of participation. So we have goals in place of 26.5% minority participation and 8.2% female participation. And all you have to do is meet the goal or make a good faith effort to meet the goal, which both bidders did. And so the firm who did not win the solicitation did in fact have a higher level of minority participation, coming in at 49%, which by the way is a very good number. But the firm who was selected came in at 41% participation. So both of these firms, or both of these proponents, exceeded the goals that were set for this project. But I want to make sure everyone is clear that just because you have the highest percentage of participation does not entitle you to be awarded the contract. And so there are a lot of people, a lot of businesses who believe that. And so I wanted to take this opportunity to clear that up. So as long as your participation submission is credible and addresses the goal, that's all that's required. So the firm who lost this opportunity, who came in at approximately 8% higher than the firm who won, that doesn't mean anything, because the firm who won the solicitation clearly exceeded the goals listed on the project. I hope that that's helpful.
Hey, Mr. Bell, can I ask a question about that? Because that was actually, and you know, I don't want to, I mean, Mr. Chair, I'll revert back to you because I don't know what's appropriate to be discussing on this public call or not.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
Yeah, I'll just, we could have this conversation after this, but I have some concerns about what Mr. Bell just said, but we can discuss it off the record.
Okay, all right, good deal. Well, I appreciate everybody chiming in on it. CBE participation is always of importance, and it's good to get it right. So thank you for coming on the call, Mr. Bell and Mr. Clark, and also for your questions, Mr. Brown, and your input, Ms. Overstreet. We have a motion to approve and a second on this piece of legislation. Ms. Pullidini, can you prepare to vote now?
The vote is open.
Aye is a yes.
Will everyone please vote?
Mr. Chair, I'm abstaining, considering the conditions.
Okay.
And the vote is closed. 6 yeas, 1 abstention.
And I neglected to mention that Councilmember Westmoreland joined quite a while ago. So my apologies, but he was present on that vote just then. All right, let's move forward to the next item.
Our next item is number 7, 21-0-0136, an ordinance by Councilmember AMIR FAROKHI, authorizing the mayor, her designee, on behalf of the Atlanta Department of Transportation to amend contract SB-9034 on street parking management services with SB Plus, all-in-one joint venture, to provide that until the city is in phase 5 of the mayor's phased reopening plan, in lieu of the minimum annual revenue guarantee set forth in the agreement, payments to the city of Atlanta shall be based upon a revenue sharing arrangement under the city under which the city receives 80% of net profits and the service providers receive 20% of net profits, to provide that the amendment to the agreement will be retroactively effective as of January 1, 2020, and for the purposes. And there's an amendment in your packet which attaches Exhibit A, which is the original agreement.
All right, motion to bring forward the amendment.
Second, FAROKHI.
The vote is open.
Hyde is a yes.
Brown is a yes.
Vote is closed. 7 yeas, 0 nays. The item has been amended.
All right. So this is about our parking contract. Mr. Rowan, did you want to speak to this?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. Josh Rowan, Atlanta DOT. This is an attempt by the department to tighten up the contractual language related to the parking enforcement. It didn't really address to our satisfaction how to handle the pandemic. And early in the pandemic, with the reduced trips to Atlanta, we saw a great reduction in parking revenue. As the pandemic unfolded, and the state reopened, we started getting quite an increase of citizen complaints related to parking issues. And so our intent was to start scaling back up the parking to really a full enforcement level. And so this gives us the ability to kind of work in the interim. We're ramping up the enforcement while we believe we're also working our way out of this pandemic. So I think an important point here is that this isn't costing the city anything. We've already lost the revenue due to the reduced trips earlier in the pandemic. So now we're trying to focus just on good curb management as we move forward.
All right. I make a motion to approve as amended. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, FAROKHI.
All right. We got a second by Brown.
The vote is open.
Hyde is a yes.
Vote is closed. 7 yeas, 0 nays. These items are favorable as amended.
Before you go to the next item, Ms. Puladini, I did want to also just communicate, council members, we will, Mr. Rowan, keep me honest on this, probably within the next 9 to 12 months, we will begin a dialogue regarding on-street parking in the city, as this current contract will begin to close out, and we'll have to either decide to put it back out for bid for new on-site parking companies to manage it for us, or do something else like bring it back in-house. So, Mr. Rowan, just to give this set of council members that update, what do you, is that accurate by the end of this year?
That's fair. Probably about a year from now, we'll be talking about the plan for parking moving forward.
Okay. All right. Just wanted to put you guys on alert for that. All right. That's it. Thanks. Ms. Puladini, you can go to the next item, number 8.
Thanks, Mr. Chair. Items 8 through 10 are all traffic calming device-related papers. Would the committee like to take these as a block?
Yes, please.
Okay. Item number 8, 21-0-0142, an ordinance by Councilmember Jennifer N. Ide authorizing the mayor, her designee, to install traffic calming devices on Rockledge Road Northeast to waive certain provisions of Section 138-84D of the City of Atlanta Code of Ordinances and for other purposes. Item number 9, 21-0-0143, an ordinance by Councilmember Jennifer N. Ide authorizing the mayor, her designee, to install traffic calming devices on South Ponce de Leon Avenue Northeast between Wellwater Creek and Clifton Road Northeast outside of Shadyside Park to waive certain provisions of Section 138-84D of the City of Atlanta Code of Ordinances and for other purposes. And item number 10, 21-0-0149, an ordinance by Councilmember Desmond Hillis authorizing the mayor or her designee to install traffic calming devices on Woods Drive Northwest between Donald Lee Hollowell Northwest and Bakers Road Northwest in order to reduce speeding, to waive certain provisions of Section 138-84D of the City of Atlanta Code of Ordinances and for other purposes.
All of these items are favorable by the department, so I will say motion to approve on all three.
Second, Brown.
Let's prepare
The vote is open.
Aye is a yes.
Vote is closed. 7 yeas, 0 nays. These items are favorable. Item number 11, 21-R-3245, resolution by Transportation Committee authorizing the mayor or her designee on behalf of the Atlanta Department of Transportation to apply for and accept funding from the Georgia Department of Transportation for the Central Avenue Bridge Replacement Project in the amount of $6,896,000.00 and for other purposes.
Mr. Rowan?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chair. This legislation enables the department to pursue state funding for Central Avenue Bridge, and if we're successful, to also receive that funding. Thank you.
All right. Motion to approve. Is there a second? Councilman, second. All right, we got a second by Ives. Let's prepare to vote.
The vote is open.
Yes, Brown, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
Vote is closed. 7 yeas, 0 nays. This item is favorable. Our next item is number 12, 21-R-3246, a resolution by Transportation Committee authorizing the mayor or her designee to execute a project management agreement with Midtown Business Association, Inc., doing business as Midtown Alliance for the installation of 3 traffic signals in Midtown Plaza at the following locations: West Peachtree Street Northwest and 13th Street Northeast, Peachtree Street Northeast and 13th Street Northeast, and Juniper Street Northeast and 13th Street Northeast to improve pedestrian safety and traffic operations, to execute any required agreements for project participation and implementation in an amount not to exceed $600,000.00. All contracted work to be charged to and paid from the fund department organization, and account numbers listed herein and for other purposes.
All right, Mr. Rowan?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. Josh Rowan, Atlanta DOT. The CIDs are important project implementation partners of the cities, and this is a standard project management agreement with Midtown. In this case, it's for the installation of traffic signals. So we highly recommend approval. Thank you.
All right, I'll make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second, FAROKHI.
All right, thank you. Let's move forward with a vote.
The vote is open.
Aye is a yes.
Okay.
Brown is a yes.
Vote is closed. 7 yeas, 0 nays. This item is favorable. The next item is number 13, 21-R-3247, resolution by Transportation Committee authorizing the mayor or her designee to enter into amendment number 1 for EAS 1210103, emergency right-of-way maintenance with Russell Landscape LLC, to add the Atlanta Department of Transportation as an authorized user agency to the agreement for issuance on a task order basis in an amount not to exceed $500,000.00. All contracted work will be charged to and paid from various fund department organization and account numbers listed herein and for other purposes.
All right, Mr. Rowan?
This one is actually Cotina, but I'll take it since you called on me. We are adding ourselves as a user agency to the Department of Public Works landscape management emergency procurement for the purpose of getting back out and doing some of the much needed landscaping that's needed in the median throughout the city.
Okay. All right. I make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second, Brown.
The vote is open.
Aye is a yes.
The vote is closed. 7 yeas, 0 nays. This item is favorable. Our next item is number 14, 21-R-3248, resolution by Transportation Committee authorizing the mayor or her designee to execute an agreement for ISC-C-1200204 pedestrian hybrid beacon with Construction 57 Inc. on behalf of the Atlanta Department of Transportation for a term of 1 year with one 1-year renewal option and an amount not to exceed $630,728.00. All contracted work will be charged to and paid from the fund department, organization, and account number listed and for other purposes.
All right, Mr. Rowan or Cotina?
Yeah, let's get Cotina unmuted on this one. She's got the details.
Cotina Alexander, Atlanta Department of Transportation. Well, the Office of Transportation, which is now currently the Transportation Infrastructure Management Group, or TIM, was in the Department of Public Works. We applied for a GDOT grant in the amount of $491,276.80 for the construction of pedestrian safety projects. These grants were accepted under legislation 21-0-0031. The projects that will be included in this construction project are hybrid beacons on Lee Street at Dork Avenue, Lee Street north of Beecher Street, 2170 Cheshire Bridge Road, 507 Boulevard, and 794 Boulevard, and a rectangular rapid flashing beacon at Westlake Avenue and Browning Street. These projects were advertised under IFB-C-1200204, and the lowest bidder was Construction 57. And so this legislation will enter into an agreement for the amount of $630,728 to construct these facilities at the listed locations.
Okay. All right, I make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second, Brown.
The vote is open.
Aye is a yes.
The vote is closed. 7 yeas, 0 nays. This item is favorable. Our next item is number 15, 21-R-3249, a resolution by Transportation Committee authorizing the mayor or her designee on behalf of the City of Atlanta to add the Atlanta Department of Transportation as an authorized user to add funding to a joint task order in an amount not to exceed $100,000.00 for use under 4 architectural and engineering design services contract, SC-7383A, Arcadis CPA, a joint venture of Arcadis GNM Inc. and Brinley Peter 7 Associates Inc. SC-7383B, Atlanta Services Group 3, a joint venture of Jacobs Project Management Co., S&L King and Associates Inc. and Engineering Design Technologies Inc. SC-7383C, BGR2, a joint venture of Black and Beach Corporation, River to Tap Inc. and Gresham Smith and Partners, FC-7383S, PB Benchmark JV, a joint venture of Parson Brinkeroff Inc. and Benchmark Management LLC to provide professional architectural and engineering services, design services on behalf of the Atlanta Department of Transportation, and authorizing the Commissioner of the Atlanta Department of Transportation or his designee to issue task orders on a cumulative amount not to exceed $100,000.00 under contract numbers SC-7383A, 7383B, 7383C, and 7383F, with all services to be charged to and paid from account numbers listed herein and for other purposes.
All right, let's go to Mrs. Alexander or Mr. Rowan.
Mr. Chairman, I'll take this with Josh Rowan, Atlanta DOT. This is actually connected with item 5 5 that was previously approved, the month-to-month for the AMIs. This actually authorizes funding for us to use during that window of time. So we expect to see some small task orders, and we're setting aside a small amount of money for those tasks.
Okay. Motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second, aye.
The vote is open.
I'm a yes, Mr. Chair.
The vote is closed. 7 yeas, 0 nays. This item is favorable. Next item is number 16, 21-R-3250. A resolution by Transportation Committee authorizing the mayor or her designee to exercise renewal number 1 for SB 9874 on-call electrical survey services with Cleveland Electric Company at Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport on behalf of the Department of Aviation for a term of 2 years and for the purposes.
Mr. Selden.
Cleveland? Yes, sir. John Selden, the general manager of Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International. If I can have 1 minute, sir. I'm going to make sure I got the right paper here. Hold.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I think I'm paper 3250. I think she skipped 3249. In order?
The caption I read was item number 16, 21-R-3250.
Okay, we're good to go then. Thank you, Ms. Baldini. So John Selden, the general manager of Hartsfield-Jackson. This is for Cleveland Electric. They've been here a very long time. They provide on-call electrical survey services and repairs for us. It's a task order contract of $1.430 million. We'd like to exercise their 2-year option. Their 3-year contract has expired, and we have two 2-year options in the authorization, and we'd like to exercise the first one. These people do load verification on all of our circuits to make sure we don't overload anything. They provide electrical repair of equipment above ground and underground, and they also replace electrical equipment for us, and they do a very good job. Thank you.
All right, motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second, aye.
I'm a yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
Will everyone please vote? And the vote is closed. 7 yeas, 0 nays. This item is favorable. Our next item is number 17, 21-R-3251. A resolution by Transportation Committee authorizing the mayor or her designee to execute an agreement for ISC-C-1210161 runway 9L and around taxiway phase 2 at Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport with McCarthy Improvement Company on behalf of the Department of Aviation for a term of 590 calendar days in an amount not to exceed $55,921,870.00. All services will be charged to and paid from PCAEO and FDOA as listed herein and for the purposes. And there's an amendment in your packet to attach the Independent Procurement Review Office report.
Motion to amend. Is there a second?
Second, aye.
The vote is open.
I'm a yes, Mr. Chair.
Vote is closed. 7 yeas, 0 nays. This item has been amended.
All right, now make a motion to approve as amended. Is there a second?
Motion to approve. The next second, Overstreet.
yes, Mr. Chair.
Hyde is a yes.
I'm sorry, that previous item is favorable as amended. 7 yeas, 0 nays. Item number 18, 21-R-3252, a resolution by Transportation Committee authorizing the mayor her designee to exercise the contract renewal for FC9994A, airside electrical on-call contractor with Brooksbury, Haney & Associates, Inc. at Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport on behalf of the Department of Aviation for a term of 2 years and for other purposes.
Selden.
Yes, sir. John Selden. This is a option renewal, a 2-year option renewal for BBH, Brooksbury and Haney. They provide our airside on-call electrical services here that are past the scope of our electricians when it comes to cables and regulators.
You're on the 911 one.
Okay. No. I think we're having some issues with the internet here and what's showing up on our screen here at the airport. I apologize, Mr. Chairman. But for this paper, which is 3252, this is our 2-year option extension of BBH. Like I said, we'd like to exercise the option. It's from July of 2020. It'll take us July of 2023. And they do all of our very complex airfield light signs and cables and regulators here at the airport, and they're done an excellent job for us, and we'd like to exercise the option. Thank you.
All right, motion to approve. Is there a second?
The vote is open.
I'm a yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
The vote is closed. 7 yeas, 0 nays. This item is favorable. Our next item is number 19, 21-R-3253, a resolution by Transportation Committee authorizing the mayor her designee to exercise the renewal for FC-9277 Plane Train Tunnel West Extension Phase 1, Progressive Design Build with Clark Atkinson Technique, a joint venture, Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport on behalf of the Department of Aviation for a term of 2 years, effective May 8, 2021 through May 7, 2023, and for other purposes.
Who's going to speak to this item? Is this you, Mr. Selden, again?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. This is a progressive design build contract, and we would like to exercise the 2-year extension to the CAT JV team. And they are currently digging our tunnel for that is the 660-foot tunnel that we're going to use for our new plane train turnaround. This is the first 2-year extension that'll take us to 2023. And this part so far, we've spent about $123 million going forward of the 189 that's programmed. And we'd like to continue with our project because we have a very large hole in the ground going forward, and we really would like to complete this to get our plane train to be 20% more efficient. Thank you.
All right, motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second, aye.
The vote is open.
I'm a yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
The vote is closed. 7 yeas, 0 nays. This item is favorable. Item number 20, 21-R-3254, resolution by Transportation Committee authorizing the mayor or designee to exercise the renewal option for contract FC-9621, small architectural engineering design services as follows. FC-9621 SC-9621B, Good Dance Like Architecture, SC-9621-C, Holt Consulting Company, LLC, and SC-9621-D, Southeastern Engineering, Inc., at Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport on behalf of the Department of Aviation, each for a renewal term of 2 years and for other purposes.
All right. Mr. Selden?
Yes, sir. This is for our small architectural engineering. We'd like to execute the renewal option for this Goodman, Holt, and Southeastern. 50% of the work here has to be done per this contract, which is $3.1 million task order, by SB, Small Business Enterprises, and the employees are actually of the contractors here. So this is a good contract to help our small businesses move forward, and they do a good job for us here, and we'd like to execute this option. Thank you.
All right, motion to approve. Is there a second?
Yes, I second. The vote is open.
Brown, yes.
Will everyone please vote? Thank you. The vote is closed. 7 yeas, 0 nays. This item is favorable. And that concludes our legislative items.
All right, thank you. Thank you, council members, for the legislative agenda, and you, Ms. Pulidini. Now it's time to go to our MARTA quarterly report. Thank you, MARTA, for your patience as we got through a pretty lengthy legislative agenda. Is Mr. Parker ready?
One moment, please, Mr. Chair. We're just making sure he has access to the line.
Okay.
There we go. Can you hear me? We'll also have colleague Greenwood, who's also on, but on another line, presenting towards the end. So if we can make sure that his line gets unmuted as well. Thank you, Chairman Dickens, members of the City of Atlanta's Transportation Committee. It's always good to be in front of you, and I want to take a few minutes to present our MARTA 2021 briefing. And for those of you who don't recognize my voice, I am Jeffrey Parker, the General Manager and CEO of MARTA. If you could bring up my presentation and go to the slide that has the agenda on it. We'll cover 4 topics today: the essential bus service update, the MARTA 2040 expansion program. I want to spend a few minutes talking about our federal outlook, as well as have colleague Greenwood talk through an important effort that we'll be taking, an initiative that we'll be undertaking, our bus network redesign efforts. So next slide, essential bus service, and you can move to the next slide that has the Breathe Easy logo on it. As the slides are catching up, I'd like to thank several of the MARTA board members who are in attendance today. The representatives from the City of Atlanta, Robbie Ash, Ryan Glover, and Reginald Snyder are on the line, as well as our board chair, Rita Scott. So thank you for their support of both me and the City of Atlanta. We've done a lot of work to make sure that our operation is safe and sustainable. And as you are all well aware and have received a lot of feedback, including a brief comment on today's public hearing, questions raising concerns about the implementation of our essential bus service, we're ready to make a significant announcement about restoring our bus service in its entirety on April 24th. And I think it's important to first focus on what we've done to make our bus system safe. We all recognize the insidious virus, COVID-19, that is affecting our personal lives as well as our professional lives. And we have undertaken some significant efforts to make our bus system and buses as safe as can be, and believe that these efforts are leading us to a position where we can reinstitute our bus service. So I just want to review these really quickly. We have installed antimicrobial air filtration systems, a finer filter that one would have like in their AC system at home. We put protective shields for operators on our buses to make sure that there's a separation between our valued employees and our customers, like we see in the retail stores that we all visit. We are implementing a regimen of cleaning that is a substantially larger effort than before, with regular cleaning, not only wiping down surfaces, but with electromagnetic sprayers, systems that Delta Airlines uses on their planes to ensure that their systems are safe. We've installed mask dispensers and have masks on all our buses. We have an extremely high level of compliance, and we're implementing not only the city of Atlanta's, but now the new federal requirement for mask wearing. And I skipped over one of the items, the needle point bipolar ionization, and it's a new system that we're installing. This is a system that many hospitals have in place, which is creating a cleaner environment. And the combination of all of this effort leads to what we're calling our Breathe Easy program, where we will have a safer environment on our buses. And with that, we will be able to increase the number of people that we'll be allowing on our buses, and ultimately be able to return a significant amount of all of the routes back to service. We're currently developing a plan. We do have some pretty significant changes in ridership patterns, so we want to match our ridership to those patterns. We're developing those schedules now. The beginning of April, we will be undertaking a public effort to let people know about what schedules will be available, but an important milestone in returning service and what we are calling the return to our new normal. Next slide to the MARTA 2040 update, and you can go right to the item that says track renovation phase 4. It is a video that, and Chairman, I can't see the video live, but could you just tell me to make sure that it's being played properly, as I'll pause and wait for the video to start and then explain what you're seeing.
Right now, the video is frozen. Oh, here it comes.
Okay, thank you.
It appears to be construction of the new jail. So we've undertaken a significant effort at Canterbury Junction in the city of Atlanta, just north of Lindbergh Station, where the trains diverge from Lindbergh to either go to North Springs or Doraville. This is a time-lapse photo of the work that was done over a 5-day period. That shutdown was very successful. We were successfully able to implement the work that you can see happening literally at the speed of light here, but more importantly, the efforts of our customer service agents, bus transportation, our police officers,
and a whole host of administrative personnel really made the impact to our customers minimal. We used our partnership with Uber and Lyft to allow people to have a alternative means of transportation. And just let me know when the video is done. I'm watching it on the YouTube channel, but it's a little delayed. So this was a great effort. Okay, so this is a great effort of where we expedited some work, made sure that we minimize the impact to our customers. It is something that we have in our work program next year, some additional work in this area at another interlocking, and we will have more discussions about that. But I really want to share that this was a successful implementation of a shutdown with significant benefit of making our system more reliable and safer operation for our customers. And if you could go to the Bankhead station, as you're well aware, improvements to Bankhead Station, which is the only station in the system that only allows 2-car trains today, was prioritized into the More MARTA City of Atlanta program. One of the things that we're working hard at is trying to secure some funds through the state. The state has last year had enacted a fee for Ubers and Lyfts across the state, prioritized that for investment in transit. The governor's budget and the House have both passed this, and we're waiting for the Senate to act on the budget, and we're feel confident that we'll receive some state funding for this important investment. As you know, Microsoft is investing in an adjacent corridor. We have a desire to make this an 8-car train, also develop a TOD site on our station property, and make an investment in a part of the city that is really going through a great transformation with the investment by the city at the new park, as well as a whole lot of investment that's going on with public dollars and Beltline investment as well. So we're looking forward to getting some support from the state and advance this program. And if we could go to the next slide, 5 Point Station. This is some renderings of what we vision our station looking like. We've completed the feasibility portion of our study and concluded that it is technically feasible within the proposed budget that the More MARTA program has laid out to deconstruct the canopy, this concrete bunker that is 5 points at the street level, and to construct a roadway and reconnect Marietta to Alabama Street, reconnect Broad Street. This work in the design questions, it's been determined that this is feasible. We're working on an operation analysis, particularly to look at things like bus circulation, and we have a RFP for an A&E service to do some work at the design of 5 Point Station in the next 30, 60 days. And within 3 months, we should be advertising for a construction manager at risk, so we can advance this the work with the design team into pre-construction. So we're really looking forward to to investing in this station. We see this as another great opportunity to leverage the private dollars that are being invested, like are happening at Bankhead Station, and improve the development opportunities, improve the station. And we also have a similar effort below ground at the station to rebuild the underground portions of the station and upgrade that station. Next slide, Airport Station. We are working to finalize an agreement with the city to allow the construction of upgrades to the airport station. As we all know, an important connection between the city's asset of Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport to the rest of the city. It's a key station where many of visitors who first come to Atlanta pass through into the MARTA station. Next slide, which is another rendering of the exterior where we're trying to improve the canopy And you can move to the next slide that shows the station entrance with some renderings of people moving out of the airport area into the unpaid and eventually getting into the station. So you can advance to the next slide. And then there's a slide airport station with the side of a train that shows the upgraded platform area. So we've got some great design that's been laid out. You can continue through these slides of airport station just to see what we're ready to do. And like I said, we're ready to begin this work as soon as we finalize the agreement with the City of Atlanta. So we'll go to federal update. And you can go right to the federal outlook with the text and the pictures. So, really important and significant changes in Washington that we're all aware of. I'm going to focus on how this is, we perceive this to be affecting transportation and transit in general. We have named or the federal government, the president has named a new Secretary of Transportation, Mayor Pete, as he likes to be called. I think it's a wonderful opportunity for a former elected official now leading our USDOT to recognize the importance of cities and investing in cities. So we're looking forward to working with the new secretary. And a good friend of mine, new Administrator Noria Fernandez, who is leading one of fellow rail transit agencies on the West Coast, is the acting administrator of the Federal Transit Administration. We're clearly seeing that the Biden administration has an emphasis on reliance, on resiliency, a focus on infrastructure in order to foster economic recovery from the COVID-19, and MARTA has been a significant benefactor of that and helped us to balance our financial books. We will be the recipient of a significant amount of monies as soon as the House and then President Biden signs into administration the latest COVID Relief Act, and we continue to work with our federal partners, and also recognize that there's a likely to be the reintroduction of earmarks, which are now being called community project funding, and we will be working with local stakeholders and our elected officials, because these community project fundings will need to go through our representatives and our senators, so we'll be working with them to make sure that we're prioritizing some important transit projects. So you can go to the next slide, and I'm going to introduce Collie Greenwood. Hopefully his phone has been unmuted. Collie is joined us about a year and a half ago, full career at Toronto Transit Commission in Canada, leading the operation up there. Collie is now responsible for both bus and rail service here at MARTA. He's a tremendous asset to our agency and to our region as my deputy general manager. And Collie's going to step through a very important effort that we're undertaking, our bus network redesign. So Collie, take it away.
Thank you, Jeff, and good morning, Chair Dickens, City of Atlanta Council members, as well as MARTA board members. Just making sure that everyone can hear me okay?
I can hear you. We can hear you.
Thank you very much. So starting with this title page, the bus network redesign, it's part of the MARTA 2040 program to deliver, among other things, faster and more reliable service. This has been a long time coming, and the November 2019 release of the One Atlanta Strategic Transportation Plan really consolidated the voices calling for a holistic top-to-bottom review of MARTA's bus network. Specifically, that plan challenged MARTA to procure by 2020 the expertise to design a high-frequency bus network for Atlanta, and it also established that by 2022 we would roll out, and I quote, a high-frequency bus network that maximizes the number of Atlantans who live and work within a 15-minute walk of frequent transit stops. So we're on track to execute on both of these objectives, and I've come here today to talk with you about the pending bus network redesign, because MARTA feels it's the right step to take and the right time to take it. Now more than ever, as we emerge from a very difficult year, top of mind for leadership is what's next for the city and what's next for the region, and it's therefore the right time to collect the data, talk it over, tell the story, demonstrate that we're responsible stewards of public trust and funds, and execute on the next level of bus service as part of an overall transformation initiative. It's really not about downsizing or cost cutting, it's about right-sizing a more efficient network that works better for customers. This is a much-needed change for MARTA, and these are critical decisions that we're going to make about frequency, access, coverage, density, and ridership. It calls for early days discussion to avoid any need for last-minute decisions. And that's why we're investing a lot of time, energy, and resource into this all-important input phase. Next slide, please, is slide 18, human transit. And that's why we're partnering with Jarrett Walker and Associates. They've been helping agencies, jurisdictions, and decision makers redesign bus networks for almost 25 years now, most recently in places like Houston, Sacramento, and Miami. Their strength is in helping clients prepare for and engage in the transit conversation. They recognize that in any limited fund transformation environment, there are options to be had and choices that will ultimately have to be made. It's good news in the long run, but done properly, it's difficult and controversial in the beginning. There is, in fact, a direct correlation between the level of controversial discussion and the amount of achievement yield through the process. As stakeholders, we will walk through the available choices, the consequences and benefits of each, and will collectively contribute our knowledge, experience, passion, and sensitivity to our communities and their values. Invited participants to our 8-day core design retreat will include your planning staff, land use subject matter experts, Atlanta's Transformation Alliance, the Partnership for Southern Equity, and others. Combining this with Jarrett Walker and Associates international subject matter and technical expertise, along with input from our Riders Advisory Council, MARTA's Accessibility Committee, and other customer and representative groups, this further gives us the knowledge and experience for and confidence of a comprehensive conversation. Process moderators will challenge us with questions, and they'll provide input by way of things that we could do, but they'll not tell us what we should do. So this will ultimately be driven by you. Now, before we get there, slide 19, please. What is access? A bit about the basic premise. We start with the fact that there are only 24 hours in a day, and on that basic premise, we can all agree. From there, we socially, if not scientifically, acknowledge that there are always at least 25 hours of things to do each day. And we assign a value to the amount of time it takes to access the things we need to do, people we need to see, places we need to get to. And it's not just needs. The region is building something here that supports people's wants and aspirations too. We decide that transit riders' time is valuable, and we acknowledge that we have an impact on the amount of time it takes them to access their wants and needs. We know that inside a given area, and for lack of a technical term here, I'm going to just call it this big gray blob, inside that blob are some of the facilities that enable those wants and needs: hospitals, jobs, supplies, social destinations. And we accept that people are not going to consider something a viable option if it just takes too long to get there. So the diameter or the size of that blob is critical, and in a very real sense, your freedom to choose is limited by the things you have access to in a reasonable time frame. Next slide, please, slide 20, visualizing access. After that, we will walk through the process of visualizing access, and we will use granular data about where, for instance, the jobs are and how many jobs you can get to within a given time frame using transit, or if you're an employer, how many people you can get to you in that same time frame using transit. And this access is extended to hospitals, schools, churches, anything that someone might leave home for. Next slide, please, 21, access across an area. We will aggregate the data with the darkest shaded zones here having the greatest access to the most useful destinations in a given time frame. And now it starts to inform an important narrative about access to opportunity based on any given socio-political measure that we may have, like political affiliations, income distribution, race, etc. Next slide, please. 22, access is how network design affects ridership. So although there are a number of factors that can impact ridership on a given day, and more accessible and more attractive to more people. Increasing the size of the blob improves freedom. It improves equitable, inclusive economic development, personal choices, and it leverages the work already done inside of that blob, the commerce, the development, destinations, sidewalks, to be more valuable because they're now accessible to more people. It affords better transit, which supports walkability, which also leads to development, satisfaction, and social fulfillment. Transit connects people with jobs, services, and other people, and is therefore key to the value and vitality of any region. Next slide, please. 23, how transit expands access. So some commonly used terms for the conversation will include frequent service, which is described as maintaining a designed headway of 15 minutes or better, so that the customer will regard the service as always being available or always coming soon. We'll talk about span of service, which is the service hours, the availability, like late night, all day, weekends. And as the slide says, the best way to expand access is to provide a frequent, fast, reliable service available to a large number of people and destinations for their benefit. Next slide, please. 24, density. This is really simple math. It costs the same to run more access to more people in densely populated areas than to do so in sparsely populated areas. Next slide, please. 25, different goals, different service. The conversation will challenge us to consider whether or not maximum access is what we really want. At first blush, it's clear on this fictional map where you would run your 18 buses for maximum access. And then the conversation will turn on the differing goals. Next slide, please. 26, ridership goal. If ridership is your goal, this high-frequency linear system affords the most access to most people in this fictional town, but it would underserve the valuable 20 to 30% of your population. Next slide, please. 27, coverage goal. On the other hand, the competing coverage goal says we can run a bus route near everybody's house, but the bus will come likely once an hour, and that actually works for some customers, but it will not serve as a viable option for most. Next slide, please. 28. These goals push us in very different directions, vacillating between the ability to establish a baseline level of access everywhere, leaving no one behind, with an expansive but underutilized network, and the ability to dramatically increase ridership and all the benefits that come with it, but with vast areas of transit deserts. Next slide, please. 29. Or somewhere in between, we will seek a value statement from you collectively, a deliberate balance that gives us clear direction. With this clear direction, we will develop alternatives to contrasting networks with the public as an active part of the decision-making process. Next slide, please. 30. From fiction to fact, this route productivity map brings it home. Here at MARTA, we have 540 buses distributed over 110 routes, 51 of which run largely here in the city of Atlanta. Some are more productive than others, and our redesign will address the choices, trade-offs, and conversations required of your input, your constituents, transit consumers, stakeholders, the industry. Armed with maps, facts, and figures from our existing conditions report, we will want them to think about the decision and provide feedback to ensure you're not left to decide this in a vacuum. Ultimately, the draft plan will reflect the balance that you choose, and as many people as possible will be aware of and or supportive of the outcome. Next slide, please. 31, timeline. And finally, this high-level timeline illustrates how we have been and will be spending this incredibly fast year. Today is the first engagement of our first round of jurisdictional briefings as we continue to analyze existing conditions leading up to the development of alternatives this spring. Technical workshops will begin March 29th, and this is a 2-week series of intensive workshops. Your staff's been invited, designed for planners and engineers who focus on economic development, land use, and transportation, followed by stakeholder engagement, stakeholder workshops, and public meetings late spring, early summer. Our board retreat is planned for July, where board members will be poring over the aforementioned information and feedback and engaging in related discussions and healthy debate. We anticipate board direction later this summer, which will be immediately followed by a series of workshops, a second round of jurisdictional briefings, and public meetings to help develop the draft bus network this fall. By the end of this year, we plan to have held public hearings, finalize the network, and obtain board adoption of the final plan. And next year, per the One Atlanta plan, we roll out the service changes. The schedule, the process, and specific instructions for next steps of engagement can be found on our 2-page overview available now on MARTA's website. Next slide, please. 32. Thank you. This is demanding. It's comprehensive, and it will be a big deal. But like I said in the beginning, it's been a long time coming, and there's no better time and no better place. And with that, I return the matter to you, Mr. Parker.
Thank you, Kali. Great information, and I'm really excited about the efforts that we're going to undertake, the engagement that we will have with our jurisdictions, the engagement that we'll have with other stakeholders, the public, obviously our board of directors, in really making some important, although I suspect at times difficult decisions about what is the right way to invest in our bus system here in the MARTA jurisdictions. So look forward to that conversation, and this was just the beginning of a preview to make sure that you as key stakeholders, the Transportation Committee at the City of Atlanta, understand where we're headed and give an opportunity to ask us questions. And I just want to just finalize and repeat something Kali said, is that, you know, the genesis of this on some level started with some dialogues with your staff directly, with the One Atlanta plan, with the charge of improving access to frequent transit for the citizens of Atlanta. We recognize not only the importance of that, but that we really needed to do that holistically for the entire system. And we're really looking forward to advancing that. So with that, Chairman, I'll turn it back to you to see if you or any of the members of the committee have any questions for us.
Chairman Dickens? Well, this is co-chair, Overstreet. And so in order to, I don't see if anyone is in queue. Do either of us have any comments or questions? If so, you can just ask away. I have a couple, but I can wait. Okay, hearing none. So, Mr. Parker, I want to thank you all for this presentation. As always, it's a pleasure to receive all of this information, especially now during this pandemic. Even though we know that we're heading in the right direction where the pandemic is concerned, you know, transportation has really been hit hard because of it. And for that reason, I am so happy to see the April 24th date, or was it 23rd? Whichever date that was.
24th,
yes.
It's a Saturday, and we're working hard to get everyone ready, but more importantly, everyone informed about what the changes will be.
That is enough. That's a date that everyone's been asking me for. Even when I'm out on calls about, you know, public safety or green space or potholes or whatever it is I'm doing, everybody wants to know when are we going to be back full swing with in regards to our bus routes. And so happy to know that all 110 routes will be back online on April 24th. Thank you for that date. And I also saw another good news story the other day about the investment that MARTA is putting into our escalators and elevators, and according to the report, and I think you did allude to this before a couple months back, 96% of our escalators and elevators and things like that will be new and updated and upgraded, and I just think that our customer experience is extremely important, especially for those that have disabilities, and that investment is just wonderful news also. So thank you for all of the work that you're doing to make sure that all customers are being heard and taken care of.
You're very
communication.
You're very welcome. And we will continue to update you on the progress of that. We just decided that we had other information that was more urgent and timely, but I think at the next presentation, we'll bring back an update on where we are with that important program.
Well, that's wonderful. That's nice to have such urgent and information that you don't even get to brag. You're just giving us our information. So that's a wonderful thing. I think I heard Chairman Dickens get back on.
Yeah, I'm on. I had an issue, but thanks, Ms. O'Keefe.
Okay. I don't think anyone else is asking to speak, but if not, we can just thanks for the presentation. Do you have anything yourself, Chair?
No, I don't. I caught just about all of it except for the last part. But I've seen it and I have it. We have hard copies of it, and it's online for others to see. I don't have any other questions. I'll share my comments directly with Mr. Parker. And most of mine are, continuation of pushing for safe reestablishing of bus routes, as we've mentioned before. I know we had some down because of COVID, but getting as many back up as we can. Following that I forget what the document is called, but it's basically a prioritization list based on ridership. So just to put a finer point on that, the investment that we've made in making our buses safer with what we're calling our Breathe Easy program really puts us in a position to reestablish all of the routes on Saturday, April 24th. We'll be rolling that out to the public. Details of the schedules in the beginning of April. It will be, we continue to need to balance the service in terms of limiting the number of people on the buses. We are going to go and allow more people in the seats, although not have standees, so we won't be restoring the service to exactly the same schedule it was pre-pandemic. But we believe that we're developing a plan that will provide good service to everyone across the region, but most importantly, restarting all 110 bus routes April 24th. And literally, you're hearing it first at the jurisdictional briefings. We'll be rolling that out to the other jurisdictions over the next couple of weeks, but this was the first one on the calendar, and we're excited to share the news with the city first. That's awesome news. Our citizens are going to be thrilled to hear that. Riders, that's great. Thank you. Well, that's it for me. Are there any other questions, council members? All right, seeing none. Thank you, Mr. Parker.
Talk soon.
Thank you all. All right, take care. Ms. Pulandini, is there anything else for us that has come up? If not,
no, Mr. Chair.
All right, everyone. We stand adjourned. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.